BlackUSA.news morning show. I'm your host, William Honolulu Jr. Join us as we explore the news and opinions that impact our community. We break down how the major stories have a very personal, local, and racial impact. No topic is off limits, but even if the conversation gets rough, we're always going to keep it real.
Greetings and salutations, all my friends out there in internet land. I am William Honolulu Jr., and I have the privilege, nay, the honor of serving as the host of the Black USA News Morning Show. Welcome to another Titillating Tuesday with our special guest, Stacey Dennis. She's gonna join us in a little bit because she getting pre-titillated in the back, putting on her smell goods and stuff like that. Well, honestly, I'm not going to watch what she does. I don't really know her pre-titillating routine, but I'm pretty sure that the pre-titillating routine is titillating in and of itself. So today we're going to talk about the fetishization. And I'm going to let you know I'm going to butcher that word so many times during this conversation. We're going to talk about the Jesus. We're going to talk about how everybody look at Black people differently when it comes to sex stuff. That's what we're going to do. And not just Black people, but Black people and indigenous people and other people of color. There's a really pressing thing that is happening. We're going to look at it from a couple of different perspectives, and also talk about how it perpetuates racial stereotypes and racism itself. So, I love it when we can talk about how we can utilize conversations to get conversations about sex to address racism. It's like all of my stuff. Well, if we had business in there too. Oh, she sells sex toys. We might even be able to get a trifecta. Stop playing. Okay. All right. Excuse me. Adult novelties. I apologize. I have a friend who is a massage therapist, and I was introducing her, and I introduced her as a masseuse. Yeah, that did not go well for me. So I'm really, I'm sensitive about people's credentials and titles and things of that nature. A couple of things that I want to get into. First thing, as always, want to give a big shout out to the squad, Crazy Horse and Brandy Raymar, our assistant producer, and the newest member of our squad, Grace Aweka, who's serving as my personal assistant. Because y'all know I got a lot of stuff with me. Like, I do a lot of stuff, and I'm working through my mental health, and it's wonderful to have a squad of people who are like, "Oh no, I love you, but you're crazy," and we're gonna work through that. Your support network, I tell my clients this all the time, your social and professional support network will be worth more to you than you will ever be able to pay. Because it's hard out here, whether you pimping or not. That's separate. We don't have a whole show about pimping in the corporate world, but that's not today. Today we titillizing the Tuesday. Wanted to let you all know something big I got going on. Let me give you the whole screen on that one. So as you can see, the Grinding Gang will be hosting a grant writing workshop. The next one is going to be on June 25th. So you have enough time to get out there and register. One of the things that we are doing is we're making sure that we're providing access to organizations that may not otherwise be able to participate. The reality is that a lot of these organizations that are out here on the grind, changing lives, impacting communities, they're doing this out of pocket. They're doing this out of love. They show up wherever they show up on their own dime. And we want to change that. We want to make sure that you all understand, or you all have the resources necessary to be successful and to get the things that you need to be to really change the communities that you serve. So, you know what? Anybody who registers, first you gotta. I'm sorry. Let me think this through. This is one of the things when you try to do something big on the fly and you forget, like, oh wait, you got to think about it first. How about this? I'm gonna give away one free ticket to this for the first person who registers and uses the registration code newspapers. Your promo code is newspapers. You get a free registration. You jump on, go to Eventbrite. It's Eventbrite Grinding Gang. It's our grant writing workshop. You get a free. And you know what? And I'm gonna do something else big because I love the lady who's gonna be here. She been titillizing it with me for the last couple weeks. And Stacey Dennis gonna get a free. Actually, you know what? Stacey Dennis gonna get 2 free ones, and she gonna be able to give it to whoever she wants because she in the community helping people. You see what I'm saying? She hipping people, so she can. This is beauty part, though. When you're in charge of a lot of stuff, you can just make random decisions, and everybody else got to figure out how to implement it. I love being me sometimes. My therapist and I talk about the times where I don't love it, but that's well, we're gonna talk about that too, especially today, because we're talking about the fetishization of Black bodies. And I had an opinion. Well, I'm sure you all knew I had an opinion on this. But without further ado, or gilding the lily anymore, well, I'm assuming we're going to do a little of that while we talk. Here is my homegirl, Stacey Dennis. Hey, baby.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
How y'all doing? Thank you for having me back.
Oh my God, we can't titillate without you.
you and that. Who that word? I don't even know. I had to. And one of my friends on Facebook, she's like, "So you be titillating?" No, no, don't. Just educate the community. Don't listen to William. She's like, "You titillating? That's what we doing."
Oh, so so today we're talking about the fetishization
Mm-hmm.
of BIPOC bodies, and this actually came from an article that I found on Forbes that I thought was really, really interesting.
It was.
Let me put my story.
Get it in.
Here. So this was about, wow. It's like when you reach that age when you start thinking about when things happen, and you're like, oh God, that was a long time ago. I was gonna say it's about like 5 years. It's about 20 years ago. About 20 years ago, I was going out with a group of legislators, and we were doing this. Oh yeah, stop playing. I was at work, yo.
Going out with a group of friends.
So I was. Oh, funny part is like a few of them are actually running for office right now. That's funny. I just thought about that.
Going out with a group of legislators, it was a Wednesday.
We were going to West Virginia. It's that the whole funny story. We were going to West Virginia because this is when Maryland was talking about bringing casinos and stuff in, and we took watch this. You gotta look at the screen. A legislative
legislative luncheon, yo.
Yeah, we went on an exploration trip to the casinos in West Virginia, and
doing some research.
It was purely research. And so as we're getting in the van to go, somebody talks about this article, and it talks about the article was about how large Black men's penises are. Like it was some research that got released, and it was like Black men have penises that are larger than average, that are not. And I said, you know what, this is part of the problem with racism and stuff like that. Like it puts a lot of pressure on brothers because I am not a shower, I'm a grower, and.
Why are you trying to get us blocked?
No, I'm just saying, I'm just saying. Like, hey, good morning, Michael. So
8 minutes into the show. I'm sitting here every week and I'm like, we're gonna go longer and longer without us getting blocked, because we're here to uplift and to educate the community, have these real conversations. But William stay.
But I'm just saying though, like it's just, we again, I tell them all the time, we don't keep it 100, but we keep it 85, and that's a real tight 85. So this is part of the 85. That should let you all know about the 15% you don't want to know about. Okay, that puts some context on it. So I'm like, because it puts a lot of pressure on brothers when like everybody's looking for Mandingo to walk in the room. And Johnny B. Good is okay, but because you were expecting Mandingo, Johnny B. Good is like, I mean, are you going to realign my uterus or whatever? Like, no, but it's going to be good. It's like, oh, you're so okay.
Just saying.
And there are, that's a really big deal. And so I said that. And many of the other people in the van were Black, and they were like, oh, no, that's true, though. No, especially the dude. No, that's real true. That's absolutely true. I mean, that's not racial. That's not even stereotypical. That's facts. And I was like, and so now I'm sitting there like, because again, I'm relatively a kid to these. I'm like, oh, I have a little penis, and it's so sad. It's like I'm lucky my wife likes this. Oh my God, dodge the bullet.
Or just maybe things look better when they're chocolate.
But again, even that whole idea that it's better when it's chocolate falls into this fetishization, because like they covered in the article, and we do it too. The darker the berry, the sweeter the juice.
But that's true though.
Now, no. I'm gonna tell you, I had some real sweet light skins. Oh wow, that probably did not come out right. You know what? I realized that I am not going to be. But before this is over, I am absolutely. Yeah, you're right. This might be the last episode I have. This might be my last show. Okay, all right. So, you are the expert in sexual health education and helping people develop the skills necessary to have not just an enjoyable sex life, but a safe and well-informed sex life.
Hopefully, that is the goal. That is always the goal.
So
to make an informed, conscientious decision.
What has been your experience professionally or personally with this whole idea of Black bodies and the sexiness and all that other stuff?
It's not, and this is what people don't get. And this country is so tight about talking about anything having to do with sex, or with the body, period. I'm in nursing school right now, and our section on STDs was like 3 minutes long, and I'm like, right.
It's not like there's a serious issue around STDs in the Black community. So why do we even need to learn?
It was like this long, and all I could say is, it happens to people with multiple partners. I said, or it can happen to people one time with one infected partner. Don't do that. It's just. It's that whole conversation. It's not just about the fetishes. It's where it spills out to. It's what it looks like when it's in the daylight, right? And all your fetish means is that you get sexual enjoyment from something that may or may not be an inanimate object, right? Or it could be just a body part. How many times people say, I really like feet.
Wait. So, let me ask you this. There are going to be some of these fetishes that we talk about that people are going to be like, oh, that's nasty feet.
It's not for you then, and that's okay.
That's the part.
That's okay, because it's not for you. It's not meant to be for you. And I'm going to name a few fetishes that were just, and one in particular was just not for me.
Wait, I shouldn't comment on like raising my hand or nothing as you run the list. This isn't an audition, is it?
No. What do you say? We have 12 minutes. 12 minutes. Your audience don't need to know everything about you. Just 12 minutes. So, like, there are whole fans only pages dedicated to feet. And they give this money because somebody got some feet that they like. And not all the feet has to be model ready feet. There are feet with bunions. It's a sexy corn. As long as that nail polish is right. There are pages where men and women pay to see someone's entire foot care.
Oh yeah.
From the
absolutely.
Going to get the pedicure, to choosing, they'll let them choose the nail polish color, and they get sexual enjoyment out of feet. There are fetishes. One is just not for me, but where they don't really want to touch you. They don't really want to touch you. They just want to see you go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
They just want to see you pee. And so they get some type of pleasure out of seeing you evacuate your uterus. I mean, your bladder. They just want to see you.
And the thing is that if that gets you there, that's you.
That's you. And
anybody else.
The person peeing for you is your match because they understand that need and they're there to meet it. So for every fetish that you do not think that's nasty. Okay, it's nasty to you, but there's someone there who will meet it.
Exactly. There's honestly, I've met people who, this is a while ago. It's like, oh my God, did he wanted me to put his thing in my mouth? Oh my God, do you know what you do with that thing? I would never. So anybody who does that, I was like, oh, well, you're not. It's just,
exactly. And there are men who will not give oral sex to a woman. They were like, that's nasty. And I'm like, okay.
And again, that's good for you.
And that's good for you. And there are women there that will meet that need. They are okay with them not having that type. I don't understand them, but they're okay with them not having that type of pleasure. There are fetishes for everything. There are fetishes, people who like to be walked on by women in heels. The higher the heel, the higher the fetish.
And the
Like,
sharper.
you know, it is a sense of watching this beautiful lady with these beautiful set of legs and these high heels, and she's walking on you, and you feel the heel hit a certain pressure point. That's it. That's all they need to have a good day.
Thank you, ma'am.
Exactly. That's exactly right. There is there's a rope fetish. Please, if you engage in that fetish, please get a trained professional.
And yeah, don't, especially if it's asphyxiation is involved.
Doesn't have to, but if it does,
If it is,
even
you
if it's not
absolutely need
asphyxiation,
somebody who knows what they're doing.
the pressure of the ropes on certain points of the body can cause nerve issues.
Oh,
It
right,
can,
yeah.
yeah, it can cause nerve issues. It can cut off circulation if they're not cognizant of how much pressure they're putting on.
And
Anyway, please
the
get
other
a
part
trained
too,
professional to do that.
so, and then we're going to circle back around to the racial implications. But one of the other parts that you're reminding me of as we kind of go through this list is make sure that you study something before you do it. A lot of us is just like, ooh, we don't let it happen. Whoa, 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 whoa. That's how people get upset. That's how feelings get hurt. That's how people get hurt.
Exactly. And it's okay as long as, like I said in our previous Titillating Tuesday, as long as it's safe, sane, and consensual.
Yes.
It's fine. But it has to be sane. Don't sit there and have a fetish and now, you know, your fingers amputated. That wasn't safe. Wasn't insane.
Yeah,
Did not meet all three. All three has to be met.
Now the thing is that funny part you mentioned amputees. There are people who have fetishes for sex with people who are amputees.
Yeah. And it's just their thing that gets them aroused. Now, when we circle back to the Forbes article, and I'm going to have you post this link to this wonderful piece of research that has the same thing, and it delves into the history, what has fetishes of the Black body done to this country. And unless you've read and studied a lot of history, especially medical history, you may think that the only effects of what has happened in as far as the American experience in this country stops at slavery, but it really didn't. It extended out into a whole host of things. Yes, there was the masters going into the slave quarters to procreate, especially after the United States passed a law that said no new slaves could come into the country. Didn't mean that the ones already here couldn't procreate and they would be slaves. So they had to find a way to make new slaves. So that was a thing, right? And then when they interviewed, and this wonderful research goes into it, when they interviewed these people, they said, you know, African slaves have longer penises. And, you know, the size of the penis was seen as a mark of aggression and virility. And that goes into the whole buck breaking. Yeah, I feel some kind of way about that. I feel a whole some kind of way about that. Where
and honestly, you should, like, it's one of those things that when you recognize that in your DNA, like it built into the memory, your ancestral memory, because there are parts of our experiences that change our DNA and get wrapped around it and cause us to be different as part of our like microevolution or whatever. Like in my DNA is a brother who got raped by a slave master because he wouldn't just go along, or he looked too hard. He looked like and that was enough. Or you look like you got a fat ass right there, little. Come on, you look, come on. And again, you have so many, and I talked about this yesterday a little bit about cisgender heterosexual white men who define the playing fields of what's active, what is a fetish or what is good, what is bad, and then they spend their entire time living in the shadows of that.
Right.
And then holding the rest of us accountable for being upfront, honest, or exposed for what we like. Jerry Falwell, great example, talking about fetishes. Jerry Falwell at Liberty University, we talked about this last time, and I'm gonna keep bringing it up, because at Liberty University, if they found out, especially if you were a girl and they found out you had sex, you would be expelled, no tuition remission, nothing, you're just gone. Jerry Falwell and his wife was getting their back blown out by their pool boy. So it's not that you like getting your back blown out by the pool boy, because, hey, whatever floats your boat and gets you both there. The issue is that the dichotomy of the life that you were living and the oppression that you had for people, the oppression that you imposed upon other people, that's the part that's bullshit.
Yeah, by his standards, that pool boy could never attend his college.
By his standards, he can't attend his college.
Right. Exactly.
So sorry, but yeah. So the more, tell me more about this article. It's good.
I read the I mean, you read the Forbes article. I read, and I want to make sure
we're just talking about. Yeah, that's awesome.
Right. I want to make sure I get her name right. Karen M. Holmes, College of Worcester. This came out in 2016. Okay. And it is.
Big shout out to Karen.
Yes. I want to get her name and her work of art right. She goes into the slave era and pseudoscience, right? It's science. There's no real scientific background in it. It's more about what they think about, about Black people.
Well, they're still doing that now.
Black women. And so part of the thing that came out of that colonial era, as far as fetishizing Black bodies, is the hyper sexualization of Black women. And that still exists today.
Oh, you know what I mean? You show a little bit. I'm sorry, because Cardi B actually hit this. Watch this. Cardi B was in an interview. They were like, well, why don't you need to do more positive with your platform, say more positive stuff. She said, whoa. I was doing that. And y'all didn't buy it. But I started talking about pussy and ass and dick. And now all of a sudden I'm making millions. Here's a list of 8 sisters off the break who talk about the stuff you talk about. But I'm going to give you their names and y'all still not going to support them because you don't want that. I was like, wow, and she's right.
And she's right.
Lizzo, sexual appeal. Cardi, Meg Thee Stallion, Foxy Brown. Like it was all of this and more. And honestly, the algorithm knows what I like. And the algorithm brings me a lot of these women who do this for free on Twitter and Instagram. It's so wonderful. Thank you, by the way. I appreciate you on my fetishes and stuff. Sorry.
Right. Now she brings up the hypersexualization of Black women. So when Massa went down into the slave quarters, and picked someone with larger hips, around her tail, full of breasts, something that was probably not up in that house he lived in. All of that information got translated into how Black women were seen and continues to be seen. I mean, even when I was younger, my grandmother was like, don't wear a shirt that's too tight. You don't want to advertise. And I was like, and I didn't even know what the hell she meant, because what do you mean? I'm not advertising anything. I'm going to go with this easy bake oven and make me a pot. What am I advertising? It wasn't until I got older.
Looking at you like, hey, Stacey, how you doing? Come sit on cousin, exactly. Somebody's lap. Come on, sit here. Come on over here. Tell me a little bit. How things going with you? Yeah.
That is a whole other, that right there is a whole other topic of conversation that we have to have. But as far as the fetish, that, it always seems that Black women are hypersexual. We'll do it anytime, anywhere, anybody. The hell, I see, and that was on me. See, now I got to do that for me, because that was.
That's absolutely appropriate, because the reality is that Black women and also some Black gay men. That's all. Gay men in general, like everybody just assumes that if you get around a gay man, he's gonna try to get it. Like, and it's just like, yo, you realize you're not attractive to anybody though. Like, nobody wants you. Like, but all of a sudden there's this idea, and it goes again back to this stereotype and this Yeah, the
Exactly.
stereotype and the stigma around Black and sex.
Exactly. And it is how it has shaped our culture. And it's not even, it's everything to do with the Black body, down to the roots of our hair. I mean, I want to pronounce it right. Tignon, the rule in New Orleans where the Black women had to wrap up their hair. They couldn't show it.
Oh, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but I have heard
And
about
no, and my French sucks, and I can't pronounce it right. But it is that old rule, and that's why women covered their hair. Because of course, missus couldn't see your hair.
That's just unkept. That's
And
so.
and they said it was unkept and nappy. And that's exactly why so many states right now are trying to pass the Crown Act. Should have been done. How I wear my hair has no effect.
Necessary, real talk.
You know what I mean? And how many of us Black women have gone into the interview with a wig or with straightened hair as soon as we got the job done? You know what I mean? Only to have someone say, well, it's not really professional. According to who?
Yeah.
This is how my hair comes out. According to who? And I'm not frying my hair to satisfy you.
Like, how does this impact the job? And what it tends to be is, at the end of the day, most of the issues we deal with is that something we do, something about us, makes white people uncomfortable.
And I'm here for it.
Sorry, not sorry.
I'm so here for it. With that being said, it is just one of the things that, our breasts have been sexualized. Our butts have been sexualized. The bigger, the fuller, the better. They are nice. However, they're not supposed to.
That's always been the case.
You know what I mean? How we walk, how we talk, how we wear our hair has been sexualized.
Mm-hmm.
What is the name of that Black woman who was like medically? I want to say it was Lucy, and please forgive me. I have to look this up because I don't want to ruin.
Venus.
Yeah. But I want to say her name. Yeah, I think it was. The father of modern gynecology tested on this woman. No anesthesia. With no anesthesia, he tested on her. Horrible gynecological experiments. Any woman will be able to tell you what it feels like when you go into the gynecology office, gotta raise your legs up in them stirrups, and she comes in with that speculum. It is not the most comfortable thing on the planet. And this man was doing that and worse, taking samples out of her, scalpel, with no anesthesia. And you wonder why Black women today are being medicated for their pain. Like we could take pain better than anybody else.
We don't wonder. We know what it is. It goes back to this fetishization. Oh, and some of the fetishization isn't even just sexual. I love how strong you are. I love how bold you are. I love how nothing seems to bother you. I love how you can just take on anything. It's so sexy. Oh my God, you are so strong. That is so beautiful. And what I've seen is that a lot of Black women start to believe that is the focal point.
It's the benchmark. That's where I have to hit. So no matter how horrible I'm feeling.
If I'm not giving you my all and more than I have, then I'm not. That's not enough. And that's why I think not a lot, but some of the Black women that end up in relationships that tend to be more exploitive is because kind of that. Like, you are, babe, you are what you give. Oh, babe, I love you so much. I love the fact that you take such good care of me. Babe, you are so strong. I love the fact that it's like you don't even need nothing. It's so beautiful. You know what I'm saying? And using that as a badge of honor. And that's what makes you sexy. That strength.
Meanwhile, she's breaking down inside. After taking care of everybody else. Meanwhile, she's dying inside.
Dying. And the fact that you don't make me worry about that. Oh, that is so loving. That is part of your beauty and charm. Because you are just giving all of it, and you allow me not to have to pay anything back. Oh my God.
Exactly.
I love Black women. They take so good care of you. Actually, I was told one of my friends told me that I needed to really get married because I didn't want to get older and not have anybody to take care of me.
That's the reason for risking chaos in your life. I'm sorry.
And for me, it wasn't the chaos in my life. I'm like, that's a staff member. So, because what you want, if I am only attracted to you because of your ability to care for me, if that means you can't get sick before me, that means that you have to have resources to care for me afterwards. And you notice how I never mentioned love in the first few things, because that's like the anchor point. But it again is this fetishization that it is that the fetish about the strength of Black women, just like the sexual virility and the Black women are always wet and ready. Yeah, that's how you end up with unpleasurable sex.
Let me pause for the cause here.
You know what? Now it's time for your public service announcement. Go ahead, hit them with it.
Exactly. Lord, let me tell you something. It's not always true. And if you were not bringing it at that moment, we will dry up like the Sahara. This is from experience. We will dry up like the Sahara. If you were not hitting on all 4 cylinders, homie, I'm going to need your game to be right and tight throughout the entire process, not just at the beginning, or it'll just like, oh, I don't know what happened. Look at that tumbleweed just flew right out. I don't.
Yeah, absolutely. But the problem is that then what's wrong with you? Because the stereotype is that, oh, Black women always want it. They always ready. And if you're not ready now, I'm doing the same thing I've done with other Black women. Oh, and not realizing that sometimes they may not have even enjoyed it. They might have just gone along to get along.
You just had a lot of really nice actresses in your presence.
Like, it's fine. So, a lot of Bedroom Academy Awards.
Exactly. As soon as you left, she was like, and I'd like to thank my mom and grandma getting me through this. But I persevered. He was walking out like, woo! And I was like, like, thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for teaching me that. Thank you.
Yeah. So, yeah.
It's a lot of, this is what happens when you don't want to teach all of history. Things like that are forgotten. And it is teaching about the Hottentot Venus and what has happened as far as sexualization in this country is a part of the course I teach, because you can't know where you're going and why society looks like this unless you know what's happened. And so it's a vital part, especially I teach it for the girls, because it may color how they go about their lives on social media, and it may color who is attracted to them and why. And you need to know these things, especially if you come across it, let's say in the workplace, in a professional area, and someone has an issue with your locks or with your natural hair, and understand where that comes from in this country. Because trust and believe, when you go to brown and Black countries, locks are not exactly, they wanted to know if you learn English. If you can operate in the business world, you're not really concerned about your locks as long as your hair is clean and kept, which is what we ask for everybody.
But it's the definition of kept. Because I remember, and some of this is social structure and social control.
Exactly.
For
so
guys,
like, I'm not expecting you to come to work if you have lice in your hair.
No, but again, remember, for me, a lot of this is more about social control. It is about, if I can make you feel uncomfortable about how you appear, how you show up, I have greater control over you over the long term. So looking at, it's really evident in the way that America has treated women. Black people, it gets lost sometimes in this larger racial context. But when it comes to just looking at white women who are stewardesses, white women during the 40s and 50s, where if you showed up in an office or whatever, there was a look. But also for men, if you couldn't be bald. Bald was ugly. Glasses, all these things were ugly until it became more.
So Kojak.
Right. And once people realize, well, wait, I can get glasses too. I don't have to walk around blind. Oh yeah, glasses sexy as hell, yo. Look at these. You got a good glasses this way, this way, and this way. Glasses make the statement. But before, oh, look at 4 eyes. You can't trust them. 4 eyes.
And I remember Telly Savalas on TV. That Greek man was success to me.
But think about it. that's what made him famous, because he was, who else was bald on TV? And everybody,
Exactly.
him and Mr. Clean. Him and Mr. Clean. That was
Yeah.
it.
I used to love me some Telly Savalas.
And think about how sexy he had to be to overcome being bald.
And he was.
And think about how George Jefferson, that used to be the running joke about the little bald crown thing.
It was.
but how big a joke it was. And it's those types of things. And recognizing that being with a Black person, while it's still a fetish, it is at least more open than it was before. Because this is the honky tonks, and you drive in and get them. All of these kind of things that have been part, to your point, of American history when it comes to Black bodies and this oppression. It's not, the system isn't broken. It works the way it's designed.
It does. It has been. But thankfully, a lot of, especially, with the advent of social media, a lot of words and thoughts get around faster.
Yeah.
And it is our way of crushing those stereotypes and making people understand this is where this came from. Now we're done with this. We're done with this now. You can stop. How that happens, I honestly, without, I'm big on communication. My whole thing is sexual health. And so you have to open your mouth and say something and keep saying it. But other than that, in this country, it is not designed for that. And I'm sorry. This country is not designed
for honesty, openness, communication, health, wellness, well-being, because there's too much money
into everything.
There's too much money being made and keeping us messed up.
It spills over into everything. It spills over into, like I said, Black women somehow are able to take more pain than others. That leads into a lot of medical errors. Please forgive me, I'm blanking on names today, but a gentleman who lost his wife just after she gave birth.
Oh, yes.
In California, he is now suing Cedars-Sinai because you did not treat her for her symptoms. You just told her that she was,
this was
overreacting. No, she's not over it. And when I work in the hospitals here, even I have to catch myself and make sure that I'm doing my due diligence by every patient, no matter if I think you're not really as hurt as you say you are. But no, I have to do my due diligence with every patient to make sure I don't miss something. And I caught myself the other day when I had a patient, and she was African American, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, you faking, there's no way. And I had to catch myself because I just knew that this woman was on something else other than marijuana. And I just knew it. And what she needed was medication for withdrawal. But in order for her to get it, you have to admit that you're withdrawing. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, sis, I had someone come in here to talk to you about withdrawal because what you're going through is classic withdrawal. No. And I'm like, why are we doing this? And I had to catch myself. I had to make sure that I did all her vital signs, that I looked at every one of her symptoms. Because what if she was right? And I just blew it off as, you're an addict of some type of substance and I not give you my all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was like, and I literally sat there in this woman's face and I know she thought there was something wrong with me because I literally paused as I went through this in my head. And I was like, okay, so let's start over. I want you to stand up. I had to go through everything. And I was like, I cannot be the cause of another Black woman not getting the care she needed because I had a preconceived idea.
The other part of this, too, another part of that story too, is going back to your point about communication. The more you talk to her and the more that you work with her, even if she is lying, it develops a level of trust. Like, I'll keep letting you use your voice, but I'm also not stupid. And sometimes the fact that you're willing to listen and willing to work with her may be enough to get her when she's ready to talk about something meaningfully. She knows that she can at least come to you because you'll at least give her the benefit of the doubt. That could be the make or break point if she ever decides she wants to get into recovery.
Yeah, true. But at the time, I was on hour 10 and I was exhausted.
I got other things to do.
I'm exhausted. My patience with you is waning, but I knew how, the thinking that Black people could take pain more than others colored the type of care that my mother received when she got all the teeth ripped out of her head because she was getting dentures and the doctor sent her home with ibuprofen. You sent her home with the same thing I take for cramps. You just ripped bone out of her skull. And it wasn't until I brought up several research studies to him and I said, I know what you did. It's okay. I'm flying out to my mother today because Black women are habitually under-medicated for their pain. And like 30 minutes later, she had an opioid in her system. Yes, she did. But the fact that I had to do that, you know what I mean? I had to be an advocate. I had to be an advocate for my mother, and I would have never known if she had not called me. And apparently, this man got to know me real well, and gave her all the opioids she should have had. But I had to remember that I could not be that dude in front of this lady, in front of my patient at the hospital. I could not be this dude. So I had to go through the whole due diligence, and look at her body for what it was telling me scientifically and medically. And, sometimes we have to pull ourselves back from what we have been seeing in this country.
And the reality is that we get trained in the systems designed by the people who have these opinions. Like you mentioned, the STD portion of your nursing textbook is minuscule because the people who are creating the coursework, who are creating the curricula, who are creating the thought or directing the thought in these areas, they are braiding their preconceived notions and these ideas and they're braiding them into what they're teaching. And so even when we start thinking about how we're going to fight the system, it's in the context of what we've been taught by the system.
Right.
So you end up in this situation where you are caught between what you believe is appropriate and what you believe should be done. And then all of these tools, because, and we talked about this before, I think, I've never been to London, but I will argue somebody up and down that they drive on the opposite side that we do in America.
Mm-hmm.
Not that that's my primary information, but this is what happens with these people in positions of power. They may never have treated a Black person before. So the only frame of reference is the medical book that they have and they may never have talked to them intimately about their pain. So, and this is the book that the people in charge gave me to know everything I need to know about working with this community. And so if it's not in here, or if it is in here, I should believe it. And if it's not in here, it must not be important.
It ain't the book. It's the society. I mean,
but the book, for me, the book is an outgrowth of society. It
so irritating.
Encapsulates these fucked up ideas that our society has and then perpetuates them. The same way that fucking Florida is doing. I'm sorry, see, I'm getting worked up again. The same way that Florida is doing with the math textbooks.
Correct. But it just gets it gets taught and perpetuated through the generations. Like there's a do you remember and I hate to say, I must just say infamous, that postcard that went around that showed the lynching of 2 Black men and they set them on fire. But before they set them on fire, what'd they do?
Castrated them.
They castrated them.
Yeah.
They took what they believed was the apex of their manhood, castrated them because they set them on fire, hung them. You see what I mean? And a whole bunch of men who didn't think too much of their own and went after the unit of another dude. You think about kneeing somebody in the balls, and most men blanch, no matter how dark they are. They just blanch. They're like, here you are. You wrapped your hands around another man's penis and cut it off.
And here's the next question that I have about that separate issue. What did they do with it? Because I have, especially given
probably gave it to their wife.
Why would you think they would share? If we're going to be honest about it.
Be nice. Give her something. Anyway.
For me, when I think about where I would need to be mentally, the rage and all of that other stuff to chase down, hunt, beat, castrate, hang, and set a person on fire. And that's the thing I don't think. We look at what happened to the victim, but I want to make sure that we take an opportunity and think about what the terrorists did. That is literally, that postcard is literally an act of terrorism. It's no different than when the whoever had Americans on the camera and cut off their heads and put that all over social media. There's literally no difference.
None.
What the stuff that this bastard did in Buffalo, driving 3 hours away, cross state lines to kill Black people. That is no different than anything. It's all connected.
Paced out the joint first.
And again, I said this yesterday, that they talk about them being lone wolves, but we're all gang related. Tucker Carlson, he literally quoted this bastard in his manifesto. He talked about the replacement theory and all of this stuff, and it's just like, this all comes back to the disrespect and the exploitation of Black bodies and Black souls. It is the word savage, and these words are, I believe, are projections. Because I gotta be honest, I didn't see too many Black people smearing feces on the walls of the Capitol on January 6th. I saw 2 Black people in that entire crowd. They talk about how our communities were killing each other, but they also don't talk about the fact that they are killing our communities themselves.
Exactly.
They talk about crab, we have the crab in the barrel mentality, but guess what? Crabs ain't fucking supposed to be in a barrel. When you take them out of the place that they're supposed to be, why would you expect them to behave like crabs? They're not in crab places.
That's a good. That's good.
So you blame the crabs for behaving like they're scared crabs because they're going to get eaten. They know they're in a barrel. This is not home.
That's pretty good.
So why do you want me to behave? And again, but this is the same way we talk about Black people. When police pull you over, what do we tell them? Stay calm. Make sure your hands are up. The man
do something absolutely heroic. To go through heroic restraint to not get shot.
Right, but that's not where we're supposed to be. Unfortunately, I kind of did have to grow up in a space where that was where I was trained. But that's not a natural fucking position for us to be in. Like, none of the stuff the reason that we keep talking about these things is because we are in an unnatural situation. The world, the lives that have been created for us, that we have had to choose between the worst of or the best of worst options. They're not designed for us in the basis. Exactly. And the roles that we are allowed to have are specifically designed for those in power to maintain it.
Exactly. See? But I encourage everyone to go and read these 2 articles. The one is by Forbes and the other one was by the professor at Worcester College. And I'm going to make sure that he has this link. It's really fascinating.
I'm going to see if I can do some internet stuff real quick, see if I can find it. What's the lady's name? Karen what?
Karen Holmes, Holmes, College of Worcester. The colonial roots of racial fetishization of Black women.
Because I want to make sure
I was like, thank you so very much. This is fantastic.
Oh, wow. A historical analysis of white womanhood. I just pulled up some stuff. I was like, whoa. I'm sorry. You said the colonial roots of what?
The colonial roots of the racial fetishization of Black women. She talks about when Black women were not only considered economic commodities, but sexual commodities as well.
Got it. Think I found it. Sorry, I'm looking. Because I want to make sure that people have it here.
So I just want to quote her in one of her paragraphs. Colonizers perceived Black women and men as subhuman byproducts of manifest destiny. Slaves were stripped of their agency and desire. They were dehumanized morally, physically, intellectually, and sexually. And I was like, wow, that's a powerful first statement in a paragraph.
Wow, that's how she leads it off.
I was like, dang. Woo.
So I dropped that. I dropped the link in. So on Facebook and the YouTube channels, you all have the link in there. You could check it out and go to it.
Yes, absolutely. It will open up a wide breadth of conversation. And when you read it, you can actually see where that thought process has led us into the things that that are happening today. The fact that we absolutely cannot have a decent conversation about sexual health, things that should make us full and complete humans. We could talk about our spirituality, what God we want to discuss. We could talk about our physical health, how we should not drink as much alcohol, although a glass of wine every now and then is fine. We could talk about that. We could talk about our arthritis. We could talk about our bad hips, our sciatica, our carpal tunnel syndrome. We can talk about that.
Yep.
We can definitely talk about that. We may not want to, but we could talk about finances. We could talk about capitalism versus socialism, and we could talk about what banking industry and what big business has done. We can talk about that. But once we decide to also talk about our sexual health, the thing that allows the humans to procreate, the thing that allows us to enjoy the act, you can get real quiet in this country.
It's also the predominating driver in our lives. Like our sexual desire is one of the, safety, eating, shelter, sex. Like it is a fundamental drive.
It is a drive, but but we want to, not only do we want to put it in this box, because I don't want nobody to have it until they're married. I'm not married and I'm almost 50. You expected me to not.
But interesting, again, the people who say that tend to be banging it out. Like, what the hell?
Exactly. But not only do we want to put it in this box and wrap it with whatever religious bow you want to put it on, that's fine if that's your jam. But for the people who not, and then you sprinkle in all these STDs that can come as a result of pure ignorance. You could tell where all of this has led to.
It's right there.
Yeah. Yeah, you can just read her article. I would love to hear your viewers' thoughts on it, because she goes a little deep. She goes a little deep. I'm like, oh, that's right. I might add that to my program. That's a good point.
So funny. This has been an amazing conversation. It actually expanded a lot more space than I thought it would.
It's deep, right? It really is. It's not just, you like somebody to pee on you, or you like to be tied up. I advocate for the second part, but you can. It's not just that.
For all the parts that get you there.
It's not just that, you like to be spanked. Ain't nothing wrong with those spanking.
Nothing wrong with it.
Ain't nothing wrong with it. As long as both people are okay with it. It goes way beyond that.
What is appropriate spanking, because there's a difference between
I like
the idea of spanking or the act of it, then I like to be hurt. And those are not, if those aren't, that may not be the same person. And that also governs how you might want to engage that. So again, spanking, you need to make sure
like I said before, the idea of sex and sexual activity goes from one end of the spectrum all the way to the other end. And you will have a partner. There is someone to match your freakdom. It's okay. There's an app for that. You like to be walked on with women in red heels only. There's somebody who will do that for you. You like to see pretty feet, but maybe they have one corn. There are people there who will take that shoe off and be like, I got you. And it can take you there.
There's some sites for people who want who have terminal illnesses who want to have kind of anonymous sex, and people who want to have sex with people with terminal illnesses. Like, again, whatever gets you there, there's probably somebody there. Not probably.
Wait a
There's
minute. Wait a
somebody
minute.
out there.
I brought up. Hold on. I wanted to tell y'all. I'm going to show y'all some of these just off the wall fetish. They off the wall to most of us. But like I said, there's someone to meet you there.
Depends on who you are.
Right. Like I said, there's people who like to be peed on, and there's people who like to see someone get an enema. Whatever.
That gets you there, and enjoy your time. Thank you.
There are people who want to have sex with someone who is already pregnant. Doesn't have to be there.
Yes. Like,
doesn't have to be theirs because they like the fullness.
They're willing to pay extra.
They are. They like the fullness of the pregnant female body, the fullness of her breast. It does something to them. That's fine.
Pregnant women are sexy.
There are people who like to have hot wax pulled on them. It's not bad.
But again, there's a difference. There's a difference between holding wax and pointing on somebody from 12 inches and from 2. That's not the same wax. I just want to put that out there. Again, I'm not telling you what I know. I'm not telling you what I think. I'm telling you what I know. You might want to be careful with stuff.
There is a fetish for people who like to have sex with someone they believe is asleep.
That's a.
I want to say the word right. Somnophilia.
Yeah, I think. Oh yeah, go ahead with your best up.
Somnophilia. You like to have sex with someone who's either A, asleep or unconscious. Whatever. They're just the only thing, they're not looking at you. The only thing that is reacting is their body to whatever it is that you're doing. There's a fetish for that.
There's actually people of the robotics industry has taken that further. They actually have some of these sex bots that actually say no and put up struggles. So like if you have issues about rape fantasies and can't find a partner for the low price of $5,000, yeah, you can rape this doll, male, female, whatever, all around your house or wherever you want to. Okay.
There is the fetish of watching your partner have sex with someone else. When I say that's cuckolded, but I'm not.
Depends on which kind. It could be being part of a swinger or a polyamorous lifestyle, or if you like to see your woman having sex without you participating and that type of thing.
And you're just watching.
That's the cuckold.
It's a thing, and as long as all parties agree.
Actually, there's some of them who, what is it called? Reclamation. This is what happens when you watch a lot of porn. It's called reclamation, where we talked. No, last week was about porn. We talked about this. I already told them. Yeah, it's fine.
I was hoping that you wouldn't bring it up so nobody would look at last week and be like,
absolutely no. Go back and look at last week. Last week was about porn. It was amazing. But like, so it's called reclamation. So like, they're not even there. Like, they send their girls out. Their girls go out, go raw with a dude or whatever, and then come back and they enjoy the sex with them afterwards. It's the I am bringing you back, and it's like, wow, that's okay.
It's a thing.
Let's get you there. Go ahead. Y'all are all involved in that.
You just have to find your match, and that's the thing. Like I said, a really healthy, unashamed conversation with your partner about your wants and needs is the best way to have a really good sex life. It would be miserable if one person's desires are never, as long as they're safe, sane, and consensual, never addressed. It's a thing.
Yeah.
It could be fun. It could be fun. Expand your horizons.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate if you have to live that way. And some of it is about just having the conversation. Just being able.
And that's the scary part, right? Remember when I said it is easier to expose your body than it is to have a conversation and risk being hurt.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we almost out of time again. So you know what you gotta do. You gotta tell them how they can catch you, where they can find you, and all that other good stuff.
I can be found at ancientartsllc@gmail.com for any questions, or if you would like to have your adolescent young adult have my sex ed course, give me a call. We can discuss it. My course is all evidence-based, science-backed. And it is a great way for people to ask questions. And I do want to say a safe space, because so much of this area is not safe for them. They don't feel like they're safe to ask a question to someone who's an adult. You can ask me. I'm gonna answer it for you.
Hey, so you said Ancient Arts LLC?
Yep, at gmail.com, because sex is an ancient art.
Let me make sure I put this up there right.
You do it right, it's an art.
Is that it?
That's it.
Sweet. That's how you can find Stacey Dennis, how you can get her to help you and your youngins get sexually educated, so y'all don't be out here, you know, sharing STDs and all that other weirdness and not having good sex. Why would you not want to have good sex? Let Stacey help you have some better sex. Okay. Oh, that might be a new tagline. Let Stacey help you have better sex.
Gonna get more emails. I'm gonna get more emails. Sorry, Daddy.
Love you, baby. I will see you next Titillating Tuesday, okay?
Bye.
Oh, we had a wonderful time, as we always do, with Stacey Dennis, who's keeping us educated and making sure that, you know, we're out here having the best sex we can and as safely as we can and as titillatingly as we can. Do not forget to hit us up and register for our grant workshop. It's on Eventbrite. Look up Grinding Gang. Writing grants for your nonprofit. And remember, if you use the first person to use the promo code newspapers will get a free registration. And also, if you hit Stacey Dennis up and she likes what you say, she may also give you a free registration as well, because she in there. All right, I'm gonna calm down again, because it's time to go. It really is. I've been having way too much fun today. I got all titillated. I need to detitilize myself so I could go and get some work. Detitilize. Okay. Never mind. All right. You know what? We'll be black tomorrow.